Hello and welcome to the Curator's Salon podcast. I'm your host, Gita Joshi. I am delighted to introduce you to one of my favorite people, Mona Lerch. Mona Lerch, welcome to the Curator's Salon podcast.
Hi, Gita. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. For people who are not familiar with your work, can you share a bit about your background and how Women United came to be?
Absolutely. So I started my art career a little bit later. I was never a visual artist, and it just sort of um, happened, really. So after having my son, I started painting, and then I was looking for information. I came across some platforms that were supporting artists. So I sort of like digested all the information, learned so much, and then obviously I came across my first coach, which I just want to highlight her here because that was such a life-changing experience for me, and that is Kat Popova of Create magazine. And shortly before that, she created this community called the Art Queens, and I became a member. That's how I learned about her coaching. And so she started seeing this pattern that my creativity was really affected by things that were happening to me on a daily basis in terms of parenting and meeting friends and other moms. And so she suggested, why don't you create a space that helps women like you, helps artists like you? And so I did. And that's when I launched Art Moms United in September 2020. And that was my first platform. And then fast forward 2 years, so I'm not giving you the big story here. I realized that I wanted to serve more women because the title itself proved to be a limitation because I had so many women coming to me like, oh, I really love your opportunities and your directory, but I'm not a mother. So can I be a part of it? And of course, you don't say no because you just want to really support and help and elevate other artists, women artists, because they deserve to be recognized and seen as well. So it's like, okay, let's tweak it a little bit. And that's how Women United Art Movement was born. It actually started with Women United Art Prize. That was the initial thing that sort of started the whole thing. And I'm happy that we are now in the fourth year of the Art Prize and the platform.
I love that. Yeah, I've sort of seen your journey right from the beginning. And I remember that pivot, which does feel more inclusive, though it always was, I guess. It was just, that headline Art Mums kind of held people back. What other resources are available through Women United as the platform?
So I should say I transferred the artist directory, which was the original opportunity at Art Moms United. I transferred that to Women United Art Movement. So now we have around 200 artists who are a part of the directory, which is absolutely incredible. And obviously, it comes with a lot of benefits to be a part of the directory. So I wanted to keep that one because it was my like soft moment when I was deciding what to sort of transfer and not. I was like, this was the first opportunity. I want to keep it. And it's absolutely incredible to see that growing. And then we focus on online exhibits. So we organize group exhibits as well as solo exhibits. We, in 2022, hopefully I'm correct, in October 2022, I launched a magazine. So we have now Women United Art Magazine. We're actually releasing issue 8 this summer, which is super exciting because this is something that I've never seen myself doing, and now I'm doing it. And we also have a podcast where we give space to not only to visual artists, but also industry professionals, curators, what have you, because we want to have a broad range of voices included on the platform.
And you previously mentioned the Art Prize. As you say, it's in its fourth year. I've been a juror on this and it's been an absolute pleasure. This year I have stepped back from jurying on it. But can you share a bit more about the prize?
Yes, absolutely. So every year we have phenomenal jurors, including yourself. As you said, you were with me from the very beginning. You were a part of the team. And I want to make sure that there is this diversity on the jury panel as well. So women, either visual artists or business owners or other platform owners who all share the same goal, and that is supporting women in the arts. And so this year we're running 3 categories. It's painting and drawing, collage and fiber art, and photography and printmaking. And I'm just beyond thrilled that, it's actually today. I don't know when this is going to air, but it's actually today is the launch day. So I'm like, all excited and trying to share as much as I can, because this is the highlight of my year, because I see so many incredibly talented women who are submitting every year. And it's such a pleasure, because I go through the submissions as well. I double check all the entries, whether the files uploaded correctly. Then I go back to the artist in case it didn't, and trying to make sure that this is really the highlight of the year for them as well.
And who are the jurors for this year?
So this year, I'm super happy about having Kat Popova on the jury again. This is her 3rd time actually on the jury. We have Danielle, Krysa of the Jealous Curator, we have Ashley Longshore, and we have Alyssa Sexton. So all professionals who are really well known in the art world, and they're super excited to be, jurying and going through the submissions.
That is a stellar lineup. Tell us about the submission process, actually, because I think there'll be lots of listeners that might be interested in submitting. When do submissions close? What do they need to prepare? What needs to go on the application form? All the juicy bits.
So when you go on our website, I set up the submission page as the main page on the website, as the homepage. So you don't have to, search around the website. You're just directed right there, and you can read more about the jurors, about the application process, what type of art we're accepting, and then you pick your category and just click on the submit button. That takes you directly to the forum where you can upload your information and your work. The website is womenunitedartmovement.com. And I always say this, but if you feel like you belong to multiple categories, always pick the one that you feel represents your art the most. And so what you need to prepare for the submission is your artist bio, your artist statement, and then you can choose between several options. So you can enter with 1 image, 1 artwork, or you can go all the way up to 5. We have an early bird bonus or early bird discount that ends on 20th of July, and the deadline for the final deadline is 31st of August. So it's a really straightforward process, and I'm looking forward to see all your submissions as well as the jurors. If there is any issue on your end with the submission form, there are details included in the form where you can reach out and we'll help you with everything, because that's what we are here for.
Amazing. Tell us why people should enter. What are some of the prizes that you're offering this year?
So I always say that women artists should enter because this is the leading art prize for women artists, championing women artists in the world. And this is honestly my baby, and I always mention that I treat artists the same way as I would want to be treated. So everything is really like loving, supportive, and personal. And I feel, that's really special about the art prize. And also all the entries are seen by the jury. There's no pre-selection process. Like literally when you apply, your entry is seen. And the prizes this year, we have 3 wonderful partners. One is Smartest App, which is an amazing app that you can use for showcasing your work, because you can use it. There are obviously multiple apps available these days on the market, but you can beautifully showcase your work in situ. You can choose various framing as well as different rooms, and it really helped artists to be sort of seen as more professional when they're using these types of softwares or apps. So that is one. Then our other partner is Art Snacks. which is an amazing community of people who do art supplies. So they have their store. So we were so lucky to have them as our partners. They are giving us vouchers for the winners for their shop, for their store. That's absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited about that. And then we have one of our jurors, Danielle, Krysa, as the jealous curator. One of the prizes is her art delivery emails for the whole year, which is, I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that, but it's just a constant flow of information about the art world, and it's really enriching to be receiving those emails. And then there's a ton of visibility, like the prizes are divided into different categories. There's education, as I said, visibility. So it's an interview on Women United Art podcast, extensive feature in Women United Art magazine, solo exhibits for the winner, group exhibits for the finalists. And every year we sort of recognize all the finalists. So those are the 10 people who actually make it to the final selection. So not only the first, second, and third, but also the remaining 7. So they get a ton of amazing things that sort of last the whole year. So we do a lot of features throughout the year, and we're making sure that people actually recognize our artists. And one thing what I want to build this year is this like so-called Hall of Fame on the website, where I want to add artwork from all the past winners and finalists, because that is something that I think should be there forever.
I love that. I love the fact that the support kind of carries on through the year, right? It's not just a big flash in the pan that, we've got this sort of announcement ceremony. I know in previous editions and for this upcoming prize, Art Scene, my own publication, actually features one of the winners there as an interview as well. But it's always great to discover so many artists. Now, there is a cash prize. Can you tell us about that as well?
Yes, so there is a cash prize for the first place winners in each category, which is €500. And then we also have, for the second and third places, we have a gift card to selected art supply store. And I also wanted to say one more thing about the collaboration, the partnerships, and as you just mentioned, a feature in your magazine. I think it's so important because it really shows the collaboration between different platforms, that we really share this passion about, well, artists in general, but I think, especially women artists from all around the globe who apply, who just feel seen, and that is the most important part.
Yeah, it is. It's really encouraging, actually. And I love that this prize is actually just gaining more and more momentum all the time. I mean, there's lots of art prizes out there. There's lots of, things that people can apply for, but I do feel like this is quite a significant one that really, like I said, the fact that it's kind of supporting you through the year, you manage to get your work in front of industry, influencers as well. I think that is really kind of creating a different sort of advocacy, that can be more sustainable for the longer term as well. I wanted to ask about some of the resources that you have available, because I know you, like myself, you do some mentoring and coaching and various things, but I know you have quite a lot of resources on your website around just starting out and things like that. Can you share a bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So these are just downloadable PDF resources that summarize the main points in different areas. So whether you are ready to build your email list, because we all know that's one of the hardest things that artists always complain about, not having the email list. So it's a few pages of the main points summarized in that resource, for example, and then there's a worksheet as well that you can use as you work through the tasks that you are supposed to do when you're setting up, for example, your email, your newsletter. But there are other things like the artist's website, but also pricing your work or building your own authentic voice, because that is something more related to your mindset, but it's also really important, like, not to just use regular Google search, because you will get a ton of professional advice, which is very like sterile, I would say, like very dry. But we want to insert that personality into onto your website or in your social media presentation and so on. So you can find multiple resources there. You can also purchase them as a bundle. And then also, as you mentioned, I'm, open to coaching. I'm also doing different workshops, virtual retreats. We had an amazing virtual retreat in January, actually, this year, which was perfect because it was at the beginning of the year, and I was helping the artists who signed up to sort of plan and create and plan for the execution of a strong and cohesive body of work. And it was really magical to see how things sort of unfolded throughout the sessions that we had. And there are others I'm helping. This is my big passion. I'm helping artists with their bios and statements. That is something that, as I said, I'm really passionate about because, we always talk about that when we are curating things or seeing the submissions, and we're really interested in their authentic stories that come through their work and their written material. So those are sort of the two main things that are happening now. And I'm building something as I go at the moment, and that makes me really excited. And it sort of is going to mirror my own journey in the art world.
I think that artist statement and bio is really interesting because it's really hard to enter the marketplace, even for visibility, even if it's not, for selling purposes, right? I think a lot of artists, they kind of step out and want to start showing their work in places, but without that statement and bio, which pretty much every place that you would submit to would need, it just makes it really hard. And I do this in my one-to-ones, I do this inside my membership, but it is not any kind of workshop I like to lead. So I'm so pleased that you've been doing it. And I've been sending people your way because they get a much more intimate experience. And I think it's really important to actually get that individual personality across, right? What is motivating the person to make the kind of artwork that they make? And I think there's a lot of generic phrases we hear in reading people's statements, or they say one thing, but then the visual work doesn't match up to it. And it feels like something that a lot of artists who, especially if they are self-taught and they haven't got that self-inquiry around their work, that that is where they're missing, and that can often just be the missing thing that is actually stopping them moving forward. Because without it, and I always say, like, the statement basically acts as a foundation of your marketing, right? It really is giving us the handle on, like, okay, what it is we're looking at and what is driving and motivating the artist. But without that, it really makes it hard to talk about anything else. And yeah, I just don't think this is something that should be neglected. And it is something that a lot of artists need to revisit periodically as well. Like, is that statement that you were using 2 years ago still relevant? Does it still marry up to the visual art that you're making? There's all these sorts of things. So there's a lot of things, like even like what you said there about mailing lists and things like that, those aspects of your business. But every time you start a new venture, you need to basically like build out that mailing list and going back to basics of like what it is you're doing. I see lots of people going, oh, well, I'm going to add, I don't know, product line into my art offerings, right? Whatever that means for them, right? So they're putting their designs on mugs and t-shirts or something, or they're going to start some, I don't know, membership or a collective or something. And these aspects of the business just require you to go back to the basics that you already know. But, it's still worth revisiting any training you've done on it. I do this, and I know, you and I have talked about this. It's like, wait, hang on, I'm going to launch a new program. Let's start over again. What do I need to do to build interest in this, right? Is there appetite for it? Is this, something that people would want? Is there, what are the words that people are using that they would understand what it is that I'm offering? And yeah, just going back to that. And I think this idea of going back to and revisiting training and your notes, or, these sorts of resources that you might have downloaded is really a way that you can help yourself, right? Because sometimes, I've been asked many times, like people being stuck on something that they've done like 3 times in the last 5 years, but they kind of get this blind spot of like, oh yeah, I do know how to do it, but let me go back and actually this time do it step by step, or, this time let me revisit it and like start over again, but with the wisdom that I've got today that I didn't have when I first started doing it. So with that in mind, when is your next artist statement workshop? Because I know you deliver that live, don't you, over 2 or 3 days?
Yes, yes. So I'm planning on launching that again after the art prize. So the deadline for the art prize is 31st of August. So sometime in the fall, I will definitely launch it again. And I want to just say that it's definitely an experience. It's a lot of hand holding from my side because I feel like I actually created a shorter version that was about opportunities in general, where I also mentioned things about artist statement and bio and so on. And that is for those people who just don't want to spend a lot of time, they're not that invested in reviewing all their writings and so on. So this is like a special opportunity that I haven't seen anywhere else. And it's really a transformation. Like people who have been a part of that workshop, of that masterclass, it's called the Artist Intensive, put it into words. And as you said, it's 3 days, 2 hours each day, and we really go deep into your story and really bring everything up. And I'm really compassionate with all the people, and I'm trying to support them through painful moments as well, because suddenly when you actually open up and try to share vulnerably, it is difficult. So it's as I said, it's a transformative experience. But there are a lot of objections. Like as you said, this it's always when I promote this workshop, it's always about, oh, I'm not a writer, I'm an artist, and my work should speak for itself. And I say one thing that is so important is, okay, so imagine you're at your opening event. You have a beautiful gallery that showcases your work. You're standing there, you have 500 people in the room. And you're supposed to introduce yourself and you say, hi, I'm Mona Lerch, and please walk around because the work should speak for itself. So I'm not going to tell you anything else. And that is pretty much my whole argument when I get these objections. It's like you have to be able to share and explain what your work is about. And what we are getting is 80%. I'm not kidding. It's literally 80% of the submissions that come in have a statement and bio that is like copy and paste thing from Google search, just with, inserted information about, each artist. But it's a lot of things that could be said to like capture your attention, and they're not there. And I'm looking for that. And I know other curators are as well.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to it really being that foundation of what you stand for. Like if I read a statement that makes no sense, or there's just a couple of sentences that literally tells me, I don't know, where they live or where they trained, but no sense of what the ideas are within the work, what that artist is exploring, I then cannot talk about that person to somebody else because I haven't got enough of a handle on it. So this is something I say in my training, is that, it's a bit of a transfer of information that you know about your work. And I say this in my book, right? As the artist, you're the authority on your work until you get sufficient advocacy. So if you're at that starting point, spending time on this, understanding what your work is about, so that somebody that reads about it, somebody that you can hold a conversation with, can then go and easily talk to you about somebody else. And if that is pretty fluid and congruent and not distorted, then, you've done a pretty good job. Because most people that are looking at art outside of environments like the exhibitions and the competition and things, because we're all in the industry, but when you go and put your artwork for sale, perhaps on an online marketplace or anything like that, or even an exhibition where your art is for sale, the people that are going to come and buy are not necessarily trained in either art speak. They are not, they are buying art because they love it and they don't really know how to talk about it. They don't have that vocabulary to, dissect what they're looking at visually. And that is like a really normal thing. And I think part of our work is to give people a handle on what they're looking at and make the artist easy to talk about. Because if the only thing we're saying is that, oh, we love their work and they've got, you know, the way they use blue is fabulous, or, you know, they do landscapes. Well, again, it's not enough, right, to really describe your landscape over, I don't know, a constable landscape that somebody else has in their head when they think of a landscape on a gallery wall. So, you know, infusing that personal story, that personal experience is also the thing that makes each artist unique. And that is part of the desirability of why somebody would want to buy that artist's work, or they want to advocate for them, or whatever it is. So I can't stress the importance of the statement and the bio as, you know, this sort of critical bit of text that is, it's always a work in progress as well, actually. That's the other thing. It's not something to stress about, but it really becomes about how honest you can be with yourself, with, you know, in your writing and your level of self-inquiry. But having that some kind of a journaling practice is also something that I've recommended to artists, particularly either at the start or at the end of a studio session. You know, if they are somebody that goes to the studio for 4 hours a day or twice a week or whatever, just having a journaling practice around this to get a sense of like, okay, what was I thinking? What was I going through? And recognizing over time patterns, because this kind of writing is not something that you're going to share in the public domain. It becomes a personal resource for you. So at the point that you then need to go and write a collection statement or an exhibition statement, or even revisit your artist statement for the presentation of that particular body of work, you've got some resources, and editing is so much easier than writing fresh a lot of times. So I think that is, yeah, like I said, I just can't stress the importance of this kind of aspect of it enough. And it all does feed into your comms, your communication, how easy it is for you to write and talk about your work, but how easy it is, or you are making it easy for other people to do that for you as well, and thus, you know, creating the advocacy I talk about.
I think people are also worried that, for example, like in my case, they're not native speakers, and that the text needs to be like super professional, you know, like if a professional writer did that. But that's not the point. They're missing the point of actually, like, as I said, opening up and sharing the behind the scenes of their creativity, of their artistic process, and sharing a little bit more than what we actually see with our own eyes.
And that's what I love about Women United Art Prize, because it is for people at all levels. It's, you know, you're not grading people on their any particular degree of professionalism or some kind of career history already. It really is open to a broad spectrum of artists, because I think that has always been part of your work, which is really being inclusive to people who are new to entering this space as well.
Absolutely. And it always makes me so happy when I hear the stories of the finalists, because I talk to them, you know, throughout the year when we feature them, or when we're doing the magazine, for example. There are a lot of questions they need to answer, and we go back and forth. And I always love asking this one specific question, is like what it means for you to be the finalist or the winner of the Art Prize. And a lot of times they share these incredible stories that really sort of confirm my purpose in the art world, because there are people who are just at the beginning of their career, for example, and this was their first competition they've ever entered, or there's someone who's been in the art world for years. And, you know, they're used to seeing their work in different places, and it just confirms that they're on the right track. Or there are people who came back to the art world later in their life, and they're just sort of like revisiting their art practices and just want to, you know, they're getting comfortable with tech, for example, or, you know, the new realities of the art world, because they haven't been active for years. So it's like different levels, different career stages. And I just love that about the Art Prize, because it provides such a variety of voices and art. And it's so inspiring. And sometimes, you know, I always say that I'm exposed to so much art every single day, especially around the time of the Art Prize. And it just feels so inspiring. I just want to try everything. I see different, you know, mediums used, or different subject matters. And it's so it's feeding my creative soul as well. So I'm so grateful for everyone who becomes a part of my world and the world of the platform and the art prize especially.
I love it. Mona, can you give us a recap on the dates and critical information for the art prize?
Yes. So 3 categories this year. It's painting and drawing, collage and fiber art, and photography and printmaking. The early bird deadline is 20th of July, and the final deadline is 31st of August. Then we're publishing the long lists and short lists, and then the final results are, I think, at the end of November. So it's quite a bit of a wait, but because we have such a large volume of submissions, we really want to make sure that the jurors have enough time to go through all of them, and that, as I said, all the entries are seen. The website is www.womenunitedartmovement.com. It's set as the homepage, so you're like directly there, where you can learn more information about the art prize, about the jurors, and then you just select your category and follow the instructions on the submission form. And then you can pick how many artworks you would like to submit. So it's either 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5. And in case you have any issues with uploading your files, something's not working, it's tech, it happens, especially towards the end, when, people or artists like to leave things at the last minute, which I advise not to, but it always happens that, the website might get a little bit overwhelmed. So if you are experiencing any issues, just feel free to reach out to us. Either on Instagram, it's womenunited_art_movement, or you can reach out to via email, which is info@womenunitedartmovement.com, or assistant@womenunitedartmovement.com. All the details are on the website and in the submission form. So you have all the information there. And just feel free to reach out if you have any issues with anything, and we just can't wait to see all the incredible work that's coming in this year.
Mona, thank you so much for being my guest on the podcast. I will add links to all of those things on the show notes. And if you are enjoying this podcast, make sure to subscribe and follow Mona over on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Gita, for having me.